The first thing I noticed when I woke up in the hospital was the silence. No beeping monitors, no squeaking wheels, no chattering nurses. Just the hollow echo of my own breathing and the weight of knowing something was terribly wrong. My name is Paris, and I've spent the last 12 years learning that family isn't always what it's supposed to be. But nothing could have prepared me for what my brother did while I was lying in that hospital bed. "You're lucky to be alive," the doctor had told me earlier that morning. "The hit and run did significant damage. We're looking at weeks of recovery." I nodded, already thinking about Monica, my 12-year-old daughter, staying with my best friend Eloise while I healed. The silence broke when Eloise burst into my room, her face flushed and hands trembling. "Paris, I'm so sorry. I tried to stop him, but..." "Stop who? What happened? Is Monica okay?" "Monica's fine. She's with Natasha at physical therapy. It's the van. Josh sold it." My mind went blank. "What van?" "Your accessible van, the one Monica uses. Your brother came with some paperwork while you were unconscious. He said you'd authorize the sale." The world tilted sideways. The accessible van was our lifeline, custom fitted for Monica's wheelchair, modified for her independence. We'd bought it with Robert's life insurance money after he passed. "That's impossible," I whispered. "He can't. I tried calling your parents," Eloise continued, gripping my hand. They said they knew about it." My fingers shook as I reached for my phone. Mom answered on the third ring. "Paris, are you calling about the van? Josh said he talked to you about it." "Mom, I'm in the hospital. How could I have talked to him about anything?" "Don't be dramatic. Monica barely leaves the house anyway. Josh needed the money for an investment opportunity, and you weren't using it." The familiar ice in her voice froze my veins. "Monica has therapy 3 times a week. She has school, doctor's appointments. How is she supposed to..." "You always make everything so difficult," Mom sighed. "Josh is trying to help the family. He said he'd share the profits once the crypto takes off." I hung up before she could say more. Memories flooded back, Josh borrowing my college fund, Josh convincing our parents to remortgage their house for his failed restaurant, Josh always taking while they smiled and enabled him. My phone buzzed. Josh. "Hey, sis," he drawled. Feeling better?" "Where's the van?" "Sold it to some guy in Milwaukee. Got a great price too. Don't worry, I'll cut you in when the crypto moons. This is huge, Paris, like retirement level, huge. You had no right." He laughed. Actually laughed. "Come on, you're being ridiculous. Monica can use regular transportation like everyone else. Stop being so precious about everything. It was modified specifically for her condition. Yeah, and those modifications cost way too much. Look, I did you a favor. You need to learn to let go sometimes." The line went dead. I stared at the phone, my hands shaking with rage and helplessness. But underneath the fury, something else stirred, something cold and calculating that had been waiting for this moment. Because what my brother didn't know, what my parents never bothered to learn, was that I'd spent years preparing for something like this. Every account protected, every asset secured, every document carefully filed away. Robert's death had taught me that security isn't just about locks and alarms. It's about being ready when the people you're supposed to trust show their true colours. My phone lit up again. A text from Monica. "Mum, when are you coming home? The new driver doesn't know how to secure my chair properly." I closed my eyes, fighting back tears. My sweet, brave girl trying so hard to adapt while her own family betrayed her. But they'd made a crucial mistake. They thought my hospital stay had left me powerless. They were about to learn how wrong they were. I opened my banking app and clicked the alert button I'd set up years ago. Within seconds, a notification appeared. "Unusual deposit detected. Account flagged for review." Josh's crypto dreams were about to crash and burn, and that would only be the beginning. The hospital room felt smaller with each passing hour. I watched Monica through our video chat, my heart breaking as she tried to sound cheerful about missing her art class because the new transport service had cancelled last minute. "It's okay, Mom. I can catch up next week," she said, adjusting her glasses. But I saw the shadow cross her face, the slight tremor in her voice. "Baby, I need to tell you something about the van." "I know," she interrupted softly. "Uncle Josh sold it. I heard Grandma talking about it on the phone." Of course she knew. Monica had always been too perceptive for her own good, just like she'd known something was wrong the day Robert died, hours before we got the call about the accident. "I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I should have... Don't apologize, Mom. It's not your fault." She paused, then added, "Grandma said we were being selfish about the van anyway, that normal families don't need special vehicles." The familiar rage bubbled up. I remembered all the times they'd dismissed Monica's needs, the birthday parties at inaccessible venues, the family vacations planned without considering her wheelchair, the constant refrain of "you're babying her too much" whenever I spoke up. My phone buzzed with a text from Eloise. Josh just tried to withdraw $50,000 from his account. Bank flagged it as suspicious. He's throwing a fit at the downtown branch. I smiled despite myself. The pieces were falling into place. "Monica, honey, I need to make some calls. I'll video chat you again before bedtime, okay?" "Okay, Mom?" Her voice wavered. "Are you going to fight with them again?" "No, baby. This time I'm going to win." After hanging up, I called Jacob, my lawyer. He answered immediately. "Paris, I've been expecting your call. Eloise filled me in about the van. What are my options?" "Well, your brother committed fraud by selling property he had no legal right to. I've already started the paperwork to freeze his assets and trace the sale. But there's something else you should know." I held my breath. The money he got from the van, he tried to use it as collateral for a massive loan. When that got flagged, he attempted to move it through your parents' accounts. I laughed bitterly. "Let me guess, they helped him?" "They tried, but remember those protections we put in place after Robert died? They're working exactly as intended." After Robert's death, I'd learned the hard way about financial vulnerability. Josh had tried to contest the will, claiming I wasn't stable enough to manage Robert's estate. That's when I'd met Jacob and started building my safety net. My phone lit up with another call. Josh again. I let it go to voicemail. "Your brother's getting desperate," Jacob continued. "He's made 3 attempts to access different accounts in the last hour. Each attempt triggers another red flag." "Good. What's next?" "We wait. The bank's fraud department is already investigating. Once they connect the dots between the van sale and these suspicious transactions..." My phone buzzed again. A text from Mom. "Josh said you're causing problems at the bank. Why can't you ever think about anyone but yourself?" I showed the message to the nurse who was checking my vitals. She shook her head in disbelief. "Family can be worse than the accident that put you here," she said quietly. Another notification popped up, an email from Monica's physical therapist, Natasha. "Documentation of transportation difficulties affecting therapy schedule attached. Let me know if you need anything else for the legal proceedings." I'd forgotten I'd asked her to document everything. Sweet, thorough Natasha, building my case without even knowing it. My phone rang again. Josh's wife this time. I answered. "Paris, what the hell is going on? Josh can't access any of his accounts." "That's strange," I replied calmly. "Maybe he should check with the crypto exchange he was so excited about. This isn't funny, we have bills to pay." "So did we, but Josh sold our van anyway." She went quiet for a moment. "He said you agreed to it. I was unconscious in a hospital bed." "Oh," another pause. "Oh, God." After she hung up, I closed my eyes and thought about Monica's question. Was I going to fight with them again? No. Fighting implied a fair contest, an equal exchange. This wasn't going to be a fight. My phone pinged with another alert. Large withdrawal attempt declined. Account suspended pending investigation. I smiled. This was going to be a reckoning. The day after Robert's funeral, Josh showed up at my house with a stack of papers and a sympathetic smile that didn't reach his eyes. "You're grieving," he'd said. "Let me handle the estate. You've got enough on your plate with Monica." I remember staring at him across my kitchen table, thinking about all the times he'd handled things for our family. The investment schemes, the failed businesses, the mysterious expenses that always seemed to drain joint accounts dry. "No," I'd said simply. That's when I'd met Jacob, young, sharp-eyed, and surprisingly fierce for a corporate lawyer. He'd taken one look at my situation and understood exactly what I needed. Now, 3 years later, I was watching those preparations pay off from my hospital bed as Jacob walked me through the latest developments. "The van buyer is cooperating," he said, spreading documents across my bedside table. "He's willing to return it once we proved the sale was fraudulent. But that's not the interesting part." "What is?" "The money trail. Your brother tried to hide it, but he's not as clever as he thinks. Want to know where the van money really went?" I nodded. "Gambling debts. Not crypto at all. He's been bleeding money for months." My phone buzzed. A text from Eloise. "Josh just left the house in a rage. Your parents called me demanding answers about the accounts." "They're starting to panic," Jacob observed. "Want to turn up the heat?" I thought about Monica's face during our video chat, trying so hard to be brave. "Do it." Jacob made a call, speaking in quiet legal terms I'd learned to understand over the years. When he hung up, he was smiling. "The bank's fraud department has officially launched an investigation. They'll be contacting his employer by end of day." Right on cue, my phone rang. "Mom, again." I put it on speaker. "What have you done?" she demanded. "Josh said his accounts are frozen." "Interesting. Has he told you why?" "He said you're being spiteful about the van. He was trying to help the family by committing fraud." "It wasn't fraud. He had paperwork. Forged paperwork, Mom, while I was unconscious. Would you like to explain that to the bank investigators?" She went quiet for a moment. When she spoke again, her voice was different, smaller, uncertain. "You don't understand. He needed the money for an investment." "Gambling debts," I corrected. "Ask him about the casino receipts." The line went dead. My phone lit up with another notification, an email from Josh's company HR department, responding to an anonymous tip about financial misconduct. I forwarded it to Jacob. "Perfect timing," he said. "I just finished filing the civil suit paperwork. Once his employer sees that..." A knock at my door interrupted us. Natasha, Monica's physical therapist, entered with a thick folder. "I brought everything," she said. "Therapy schedules, transportation logs, documentation of missed appointments since the van was sold. And," she hesitated, "Monica asked me to give you this." She handed me a drawing, Monica's art therapy project. It showed our family as stick figures, with Josh and my parents on one side of a deep crack in the ground, Monica and me on the other. Above it, she'd written, "Sometimes broken things can't be fixed." My throat tightened. "Thank you, Natasha." After she left, Jacob reviewed the documentation. "This is excellent. Shows clear impact on a minor's medical care. The judge will..." My phone buzzed again. A text from a family friend. "Did you know Josh is hosting a celebration dinner tonight? Something about early retirement." I showed Jacob the message. He raised an eyebrow. "Celebrating a bit early, isn't he?" "Not for long." I opened my banking app and initiated the final protocol we'd set up years ago, a complete trace and freeze on all connected accounts. "You sure about this?" Jacob asked once we pull this trigger. "He sold my daughter's independence for gambling money," I said quietly, "while I was in a hospital bed, and my parents defended him." Jacob nodded and made the call. Within minutes, my phone started buzzing continuously. Texts, calls, notifications. The system was working exactly as designed. "Paris?" Jacob's voice was gentle. "There's no going back from this. Your family..." They stopped being family the moment they decided Monica's needs were inconvenient. I looked at her drawing again. Sometimes broken things can't be fixed, but they can be replaced with something stronger. My phone lit up with one final notification. Multiple accounts frozen pending criminal investigation. The storm was about to break, and I was ready. The chaos started at exactly 9:47 a.m. I know because I was watching the clock when Josh's first panicked call came through to my hospital room. "What the hell is happening?" His voice cracked with desperation. "I can't access anything." "Really? How inconvenient for you. Almost like having your transportation sold without permission. This isn't funny, Paris. I have meetings with investors today." "Gambling debts aren't investments, Josh." The line went silent for a moment. When he spoke again, his voice was low, dangerous. "What do you know about that?" "Everything. The casino receipts, the loans, the forged paperwork. Would you like me to continue?" "You little bit—" "Careful," I interrupted. "Everything you say is being recorded for the investigation." He hung up. 3 minutes later, my parents called. "Your brother is at our house crying," Mum said. "Fix this immediately." "Fix what?" "The fraud he committed, the theft, the lying." "He made a mistake," Dad chimed in. "We're family. We're supposed to forgive. Like you forgave me when I needed help with Monica's medical bills. Or when Josh contested Robert's will." "That was different," Mom snapped. "Josh was trying to protect the family money. From what? A disabled child?" "Don't twist our words," Dad shouted. "You've always been so dramatic, so what? So unwilling to let Josh steal from me, so protective of my daughter. You're betraying your family." Mum was crying now. "After everything we've done for you." I laughed. A cold, hard sound that surprised even me. That wasn't my betrayal. It was my protection. After hanging up, I texted Eloise. "How's Monica?" "Safe at my house. Your brother just drove by looking angry. I called the police." My hands shook as I dialed Jacob. "Already on it," he said before I could speak. "Filed a restraining order 10 minutes ago. Police are aware." Another call came in, Josh's wife again. "The bank called his office," she said quietly. "They're launching a formal investigation." "I know." "Paris, the things they're saying he did are all true." She started crying. "He said it was just a bad investment, that he could fix it. He said that about the restaurant too, and the tech startup, and the real estate scheme." "What am I supposed to do?" "Get a good lawyer," I advised, "and separate your accounts while you still can." The next call came from Josh's office, his supervisor sounding stiff and formal. "Mrs. May, we need to verify some information about certain financial transactions." I directed them to Jacob. Within an hour, Josh was suspended pending investigation. My phone buzzed with a text from Monica. "Uncle Josh just called Grandma. She's crying really loud. Are you okay, Mom?" "I'm fine, baby. Stay with Eloise." "I know what you're doing," she replied. "I'm not mad." Tears pricked my eyes. My brilliant, perceptive daughter, understanding more than she should have to. A nurse came in to check my vitals. "Your blood pressure's up," she noted. "Need me to restrict visitors?" "No, they won't come here. They never do when things get difficult." She patted my hand. "Family troubles. Justice troubles." My phone lit up again, a detective this time. "Mum, we're looking into reports of fraudulent asset transfer and harassment. Do you have documentation of the original van ownership? My lawyer will send everything. And the suspect, your brother, he's been to your property? Ask my friend Eloise. She has security footage." After the detective hung up, I closed my eyes, exhausted. The machinery of justice was moving now, grinding slowly but inexorably toward its conclusion. A final text came through from Josh. "You think you've won? You have no idea what's coming." I showed it to Jacob when he stopped by with more paperwork. "Empty threats," he said. "He's cornered and he knows it. Will it be enough? Paris, you've documented everything for years. The fraud, the theft, the pattern of financial abuse. Trust me, it's more than enough. As if to confirm his words, my phone buzzed with a news alert. Local business executive under investigation for financial crimes. I thought of Monica's drawing, the crack in the ground between us and them. It wasn't a crack anymore. It was a chasm, and they were the ones who dug it. My phone lit up one last time. A message from the van buyer. I didn't know it was stolen. I'll return it. I want no part of this. The pieces were falling into place, but somehow victory felt hollow. The doctors finally cleared me to go home, but the war was far from over. Each day brought new opportunities for justice, and I seized them all. First came the anonymous tip to Josh's employer. Detailed documentation of every suspicious transaction, every forged document, every misappropriated fund. I included copies of Monica's medical records and therapy schedules, showing exactly what his theft had disrupted. The board wants a full audit, Jacob reported during his daily visit. They're talking criminal charges. My phone buzzed. Josh's wife again. He's drinking, she whispered. He keeps saying he'll make you pay. Record everything, I advised, and change your locks. Next, I contacted every financial institution Josh had ever dealt with, armed with proof of his fraudulent activities. One by one, his credit lines crumbled. Eloise brought Monica to visit, wheeling her carefully into my hospital room. My daughter's eyes were sharp, observant. Uncle Josh came to Grandma's house again, she said. He was yelling about Bitcoin. Did he scare you? No. Eloise called the police like you said to. They took him away. I squeezed her hand. I'm sorry you have to see all this. I'm not. Her voice was firm. He hurt us, Mum. He always hurt us. After they left, I received an email from Natasha, Monica's physical therapist. She'd compiled a detailed report of how the van's theft had impacted Monica's treatment schedule, complete with medical opinions about the psychological effects of suddenly losing mobility independence. I forwarded it to Jacob, who added it to our growing legal arsenal. The DA's office is interested, he said. This goes beyond civil court now. My phone lit up with a call from Mom. Josh's wife is leaving him, she said accusingly. Are you happy now? Was he happy when he stole from his niece? He made a mistake. No, Mom, a mistake is forgetting a birthday. He committed felony fraud. The police came to our house, her voice cracked. Do you know how embarrassing that was? Do you know how embarrassing it was explaining to Monica's school why she couldn't attend field trips anymore? She hung up. Minutes later, Dad called. Princess, he began, using my childhood nickname for the first time in years. We can fix this. Just drop the charges. Like you dropped me when I needed help. That's not fair. Neither is watching my daughter lose her independence because her uncle needed gambling money. The next day, Josh's employer sent out a company-wide email about his suspension and the ongoing investigation. I'd made sure every local business publication received an anonymous tip about the story. His professional reputation is finished, Jacob confirmed. No one will touch him after this. My phone buzzed with a text from Monica. Mom, are you trying to destroy them? I stared at her message for a long time before responding. No, they did that themselves. Eloise brought me more news from the outside world. Josh tried to access his retirement accounts. They're frozen too. He's sleeping in his car because his wife changed the locks. Good, I said, but something hollow echoed in my chest. The final blow came when Jacob arrived with fresh paperwork. Remember those documents Josh forged to sell the van? We traced the notary stamp. It's fake. That's another felony. I signed the new legal complaints without hesitation. Each signature felt like another nail in the coffin of my family relationships. My phone buzzed again. A message from an unknown number. You think you're so smart, sister. Watch your back. I showed it to Jacob. Perfect, he said. Another violation of the restraining order. I'll add it to the file. That evening, Monica video called me from Eloise's house. "Grandma's crying on Facebook," she reported. "She posted about ungrateful children and family loyalty." "Are you okay?" She considered this. "I think so, but Mom, what happens when it's all over?" "We rebuild," I said, "without them." "Will it be better?" I thought about the years of manipulation, the constant dismissal of Monica's needs, the way they'd always protected Josh at our expense. "Yes," I said firmly. "It will be better because it will be honest." After hanging up, I looked at my phone's growing collection of evidence, screenshots, recordings, documents, threats. Each piece another weapon in my arsenal of truth. But Monica's question echoed in my mind. What happens when it's all over? I didn't know, but I knew this. Sometimes the only way to heal is to first cut out the infection, no matter how much it hurts. The van came back on a Tuesday. I watched from my newly installed security cameras as the flatbed truck delivered it to our driveway. The buyer had settled for a symbolic $5 reimbursement, desperate to wash his hands of the whole mess. "Monica," I called up the stairs. "The van's here." She wheeled herself to the window and stared at it, silently. Finally she spoke. "I don't want to use it." "What? Why not?" "It doesn't feel safe anymore, like Uncle Josh might come take it again." My heart cracked. Another thing he'd stolen, her sense of security. "We'll sell it," I decided. "Get a new one in your name." My phone buzzed. Jacob with updates. "Josh's preliminary hearing is set for next month. The DA is pushing for criminal charges. Also, your brother's been spotted at local bars, making threats." "Any sign of him near the house?" "No, but keep the cameras running." I hung up just as Natasha arrived for Monica's therapy session. "The van's back," she observed, wheeling her equipment inside. "We're not keeping it," Monica announced firmly. Natasha nodded, understanding immediately. Sometimes objects carry too many bad memories. "Ready to work on those stretches?" While they worked, I checked my email. Josh's wife's lawyer had sent documentation, bank statements showing years of hidden gambling debts, forged signatures, emptied accounts. "He took everything," she'd written, "just like he took Monica's van. I'm so sorry I didn't see it sooner." A knock at the door made me jump. It was Eloise, looking worried. "Your parents are telling people you're having a mental breakdown," she said, "that you're persecuting Josh because of trauma from Robert's death." I laughed bitterly. "Are they also telling people about the fraud investigation?" "They're saying it's all a misunderstanding, that Josh had permission." "From who?" "My coma." My phone lit up, Mom calling again. I ignored it. "How's the job search going for Josh?" I asked Eloise. "Not good. His suspension made the local business papers. Nobody's touching him." Another knock. This time it was a delivery. A large envelope with no return address. Inside were old family photos slashed with scissors. A note fell out. "You did this to us." I showed Eloise, who immediately called the police to report the harassment. "They'll want to dust for fingerprints," she said. "Don't touch anything else." Upstairs I could hear Monica laughing with Natasha. The sound made my chest tight. When was the last time I'd heard her laugh like that? My phone buzzed with a text from Jacob. "Josh tried to access your parents' home equity line. It triggered our fraud alert. Bank's freezing that too." "Good," I replied. "What's next?" "Police want to interview your parents about the forged documents. They're not cooperating." "Of course they weren't." They never did when it came to Josh. Natasha came downstairs as her session ended. "Monica's getting stronger," she reported, "but she mentioned having nightmares about the van being stolen again." "We're selling it," I assured her, "starting fresh. Smart move, trauma can attach to objects. Speaking of which," she handed me a business card. "This is a great family therapist for when you're ready." After she left, I sat with Monica watching TV. She was quieter than usual. "You okay, baby?" "Grandma called my phone today," she said. "She said we're breaking up the family." "What did you tell her?" "That they broke it first." She wheeled closer to me. "Mom, are we going to be okay?" Before I could answer, my phone buzzed with an alert from the security system. Motion detected in the driveway. We watched on the camera feed as Josh stumbled around the van, something glinting in his hand. "Is that a key?" Monica whispered. "No," I said, already dialing 911. "It's a knife." We watched in silence as police cars arrived minutes later, lights flashing. Josh tried to run but didn't get far. "Vandalism and violation of restraining order," Jacob texted later. "He's in custody." That night I found Monica staring at the van through her bedroom window. "We'll get a new one," I promised, "something better." "It's not about the van anymore, is it?" "No, baby, it's not." She nodded wisely. Sometimes the things that are supposed to help us move forward just keep us stuck in the past instead. I hugged her, marvelling at her insight. My phone buzzed again. Another angry text from my parents. I deleted it without reading it. Some things weren't worth saving, but others, like the sound of Monica's laughter during therapy, were worth every battle it took to protect them. The day I finally confronted my parents, it was raining. I stood on their porch listening to the wind chimes Robert had given them years ago, wondering if they even remembered who'd bought them. Mum opened the door looking older than I remembered. "Come to gloat?" "No, I came for answers." The house was eerily quiet as I followed her inside. Dad sat in his recliner, staring at muted financial news. "Josh is gone," he said flatly. "Left town last night. Blamed you, of course." "Of course he did." I remained standing, surveying the living room where so many family dramas had played out. "Did he tell you about the gambling debts before or after he sold Monica's van?" "He was trying to help the family," Mom snapped, "by stealing from his niece." "It wasn't stealing. He had paperwork." "Forged paperwork," I interrupted, while I was unconscious. "Would you like to see the proof?" "We don't need to see your proof," Dad said wearily. "You were always so dramatic about everything." I pulled out my phone, opened a document. "Remember when you co-signed that home equity line last month? The one Josh said was for his new business?" They exchanged glances. "Want to know what it was really for? Casino markers. 7 figures worth." Mom's face went pale. "You're lying." "The bank has all the documentation. They're investigating it as fraud. Did you know that's a felony when it involves property liens?" "What are you saying?" Dad's voice shook. "I'm saying you helped Josh launder money through your house. The bank's foreclosure notice should arrive tomorrow." Mom collapsed onto the couch. "That's impossible. He promised to pay back my college fund, or Monica's medical bills, or Robert's life insurance money he tried to steal." "You ungrateful little—" Mom started to rise. "Careful," I warned. "Everything here is being recorded. For the investigation." Dad's hands trembled. "We can fix this, if you just drop the charges. Like you dropped us every time we needed help. Like you dropped Monica when Josh said her medical equipment was too expensive for family vacations." "You were always so selfish," Mom screamed. "Always demanding special treatment." "Basic mobility isn't special treatment, Mom. But you never understood that, did you?" I pulled out another document. "Here's something interesting. Josh used your house as collateral for his gambling debts 6 times in the last year. Did you even read what you were signing?" Their silence was answer enough. "The bank's freezing everything," I continued. "They'll take the house within the month. I'd start packing." "You can't do this to us," Dad whispered. "We're your parents." "No, you're Josh's enablers, and now you're his co-conspirators." Mom started crying, those familiar theatrical sobs that had always worked before. "After everything we've done for you." "Everything you've done?" I laughed coldly. "Let's list it. Ignored Monica's needs. Enabled Josh's theft. Defended fraud. Gaslit me about abuse. Did I miss anything?" "Get out," Dad said quietly. "Just get out." "Gladly. But first—" I placed a final document on their coffee table. "The DA wants to interview you about the forged paperwork. I'd get a good lawyer." As I turned to leave, Mom called out, "You'll regret this. Family is all we have." I paused at the door. "No, Mom. Family is what we choose, and I choose Monica." Outside, the rain had stopped. I got in my car and called Monica at Eloise's house. "Did you see them?" she asked. "Yes." "Are they sorry?" "No, they're just angry they got caught." She was quiet for a moment. "Can we get ice cream on the way home?" I smiled, feeling lighter somehow. "Of course we can." My phone buzzed, a text from Josh's wife. "He's gone. Left a note blaming everyone else. Classic Josh." Then another from Jacob. "Banks moving forward with foreclosure. Your parents have 30 days. I drove to Eloise's house thinking about family legacies, about patterns broken and patterns repeated, about the weight of lies and the freedom of truth. Monica was waiting outside, beaming. "I got an A on my art project. That's wonderful, baby. Ice cream, definitely." As we drove away, she asked quietly, "Are we bad people, Mom, for letting them lose everything?" I thought about years of manipulation, of watching her struggle while they enabled Josh's destruction. "No," I said firmly. "They lost everything because they chose to. We just chose not to save them from themselves." She nodded, understanding in her eyes. "Sometimes love means letting people face their consequences." "Exactly." My phone buzzed one last time. "Mom, again." I declined the call. Some chapters needed to end for new ones to begin. The new van arrived on a sunny morning, gleaming white with Monica's name proudly displayed on the registration papers. She wheeled herself around it, inspecting every detail. "It's perfect," she declared, "and nobody can take it away." "Nobody," I confirmed. "It's yours completely." My phone buzzed. Another blocked number. They'd been calling daily since my parents lost the house, since Josh disappeared somewhere out west, leaving a trail of bad checks and broken promises. "Still getting calls?" Eloise asked, helping Monica test the new wheelchair lift. "They'll stop eventually." "Have you heard where your parents moved?" "Some rental across town. They're telling people I destroyed the family." Monica's voice cut through our conversation. "Mom, come look at this." She decorated her section of the van with art from her therapy sessions. Bright, hopeful paintings of butterflies and open skies. No more cracks in the ground, no more divided families. "Beautiful," I said, fighting tears. "Don't cry, Mom. This is a happy thing." My phone lit up. Jacob calling with updates. "DA's office is moving forward with charges," he reported. "They want Monica's therapy records to show impact." "No," I said firmly. "She's been through enough." "Mom," Monica called from inside the van. "I want to help. I want to tell them what happened." I covered the phone. "You don't have to." "Yes, I do. For the next kid whose uncle thinks they're not worth protecting." I uncovered the phone. "Jacob, set up the interview, but on her terms." After hanging up, I watched Monica chatting with her physical therapist, Natasha, who'd come to approve the new van's setup. My daughter's laugh echoed across the driveway, strong, unafraid, unbroken. The security camera pinged. Movement at the front gate. I checked the feed to see my mother standing there, clutching an envelope. "Want me to call the police?" Eloise asked. "No, let me handle this." I walked to the gate. Mom looked smaller somehow, her designer clothes replaced with discount store brands. "What do you want?" "To give you this." She thrust the envelope through the gate. "It's Josh's confession. He sent it to us before he disappeared." I opened it carefully. Pages of angry scrawl detailing years of theft, fraud, and manipulation. His signature at the bottom, witnessed and notarized. "Why are you giving me this?" "Because," she swallowed hard, "because you were right. About everything." From the driveway, I heard Monica's voice. "Grandma?" Mom's eyes filled with tears. "She's gotten so big. Kids do that, even the ones you ignore." "Paris, Save it. The confession is enough." "Can I just tell her?" "No. You lost that right when you chose Josh over her safety. I turned to walk away, but her voice stopped me. I'm sorry. I know it's too late, but I'm sorry. I looked back. You're right. It is too late. Returning to the driveway, I found Monica watching curiously. Was Grandma crying? Yes. Good, she said simply. Sometimes people need to cry to learn. I hugged her tight, amazed by her wisdom. My phone buzzed, Josh's wife. Police found him in Las Vegas, more fraud charges. He's asking for help. I showed Monica the message. She considered it carefully. Are you going to help him? No, some people only learn through consequences. She nodded, then brightened. Can we take the van to my art class? I want to show everyone. Of course. As we loaded up, Natasha signed off on the final mobility assessment. She's thriving, she observed. Stronger every day. Yes, I agreed. We both are. Watching Monica operate the lift herself, confidently manoeuvring her wheelchair into position, I felt something settle in my chest. Not peace exactly, the wounds were still too fresh for that. But something like victory, tempered with wisdom. My phone lit up one last time. The DA's office confirming Monica's interview date. She caught my concerned look. It's okay, Mom. I'm not scared anymore. No, because you showed me something important. What's that? That sometimes loving people means letting them fall. And sometimes falling means they finally learn to see what's really important. I watched her settle into the van, arranging her art supplies, chatting with Eloise about her next project. Strong, independent, unafraid. Revenge didn't give me back what I lost. But it showed them what happens when you take from someone who still has something left to lose. And, more importantly, it showed Monica that she was worth fighting for, no matter the cost. That was worth everything. Ready to go? I asked. Ready, she smiled. Let's make some new memories.